Hello, this is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Aging Like a Guru. Who, me? It's kind of funny when we're young, at least I'll speak for me, I couldn't wait to grow up. I was the sixth of nine kids. I had three older sisters, and so I got to watch them, do fun stuff, start to go to proms, have a boyfriend, all of those kinds of things. But also that included becoming a woman, right? Developing breasts and being able to wear a bra and sexy underwear and all kinds of fun things like that were supposedly fun at the time. Well, that included, getting my period, and that included then PMS, cramps and mood swings. That included then, being sexual, and that included then having to be concerned about getting pregnant when I didn't want to get pregnant. All of those things that are part of that process. And yes, I just couldn't wait to have children. I had children pretty early just because I just so wanted to have pregnancy. I wanted to know what the experience was, but I also wanted to be a mom. That was really, really, really important to me. I wanted to have the hormones that allowed me to breastfeed my children. So that whole hormonal adventure of humanness for myself and for a lot of women is that trajectory. For men, it's a little different. Their hormones start; they get a lot of their own sexual things that happen, muscle development, hair development, all the rest of it, beards start to show up. So all of those things that indicate for them their maleness, their masculinity, their strengths, the things that they can begin to potentially identify with. Now, not all people, I'll be really clear, not all people, want to identify with their sexuality or the sex or the hormonal elements that are part and parcel of being in these bodies. But that's generally what happens as we look forward to developing in ways that we didn't really know was going to happen. And the same is for the other side of that. In a sense, there's a point where we start being, rather than PMSing, we become premenopausal. Things start to happen. It's like, wait a second, I'm starting to have hot flashes. I'm starting to have vaginal dryness. I'm starting to have crepey skin, things like that we didn't anticipate as sort of being the other side of this life cycle process of evolution and growth and development, and now sort of the decline of those hormonal elements that are so important to who we are and how we operate on the planet. So we don't even understand the degree to which our hormones impact our mental capacities. I mean, science knows this, but so many of us don't really, take a look at it, though it's so available to us. So anyway, we're getting to a point now where, for me, I'm 67, I've got more hairs on my little chin and it's annoying as all get out. And it's all part of just the evolution of who I'm being and becoming. So the loss of my, the point of menopause when you stop having periods, the point where things start to happen in a way that, like, at that point, in terms of letting go of periods, it's like, oh God, that's a good thing, is to not be in that process every month. So there's some positive elements of this decline era and not so good. For men, as their testosterone shifts and changes, they can become less virile. They have less erections. They may become depressed. They may actually develop breasts, which is pretty interesting. Women are losing their breast tissue, and men start developing breast tissues. Kind of fascinating what happens to us. That's what happens to our bodies, and inside of that, we're having this experience of this evolution of our being. And part of the intention of these podcasts, Aging Like a Guru Who Me, is becoming more aware of who you are inside this process of evolution. That's partly the hormonal evolution of you, the intellectual, the wise you, the common sense you, the who you are inside this vehicle, and the choices that you make to support and empower growth and sustainability, or getting to a point where you go, it doesn't matter. I don't care anymore. A couple of years ago, and I went to the senior center for lunch, and this one woman said, look, I stopped wearing my bra a long time ago. It didn't matter anymore. Or another woman who said, I don't wear lipstick anymore. I just gave that up. And so there's points where what was important to who we were in our bodies, identities, isn't important anymore, or the functions that we thought were really important to us become less important, to the point where my friend Fred said the other day, I just don't care anymore. At 89 years old, I don't care if the recycle gets out on Tuesdays. It just doesn't matter to me anymore. And so there's this evolution of self within this body. And my intention is to support and empower everyone to just, in a sense, embrace the truth of that, as opposed to continuing to resist or say, I should care about this. This should be important to me. My image, my body should make a difference. And it does only to the degree that you want this body to be a vehicle for your ongoing activity on the island, on the earth, and have it be that for you. And it doesn't need to be any more than that. I truly, from the guru perspective, the gurus will tell you nothing matters. And there's a bumper sticker I love. It says, nothing matters. And what if it did? And from a spiritual perspective, I totally get that. But from a consensus reality and what we've been trained to be productive and creative and have stability and relationships and things that make you look like you're important and virile and powerful in your life. And you get to a point where you go, that doesn't matter anymore. And that's a good thing to know, that some things don't matter. It doesn't necessarily have to mean a place of depression or a place where, you want to leave the earth, but there's other things that are more important. So even for Fred, it's like, getting the recycling out isn't that important. But going for a walk with my dog and my wife every morning, that's still really important. Or going over for coffee and meeting with friends, that's still really important. So there are elements that become more important. And for many of us, as we decline, there's less energy. And as there's less energy, then in a sense, you or whoever want to become more clear about what's the priority of my energy. I kind of talked about this earlier, that, for some of us, some of you who are in your 30s and 40s and are really busy with your job or your career development, your hobbies, your families, your children perhaps, that you go, where's the time to think about me? Where's the time for me to question my own reality and my preferences and my priorities? And at some point, it becomes important enough that you make that time. I have quite a few clients that go, they don't even have time, in a sense, for their coaching sessions. And so it's not as often as maybe I would like, but they get there, and they get there often enough for themselves, but they make it a priority. So how you evolve through this process, I started way back with talking about menstrual cycles and the evolution of hormones, to the point of, well, what makes a difference? What matters to you? And how you want to be in this process of humanness. That's fully a choice that I encourage you to make. If you're in your hormonal, or we're all in our hormonal stages, aren't we? No matter how old we are, we're going through some shifts in our hormones. But pay attention to who you are inside this. And what does your body need? How do you need to supplement it? How do you need to potentially give it more exercise, more activity? They found in some research recently that people who are healthy but not active, healthy as in they're healthy but not active, they were less healthy than people who were smoking but active. So that was really interesting, that activity is really important to who we are and how we be within this hormonal unfolding of who we are. Taking care, make sure that there's you rest, get water, drink lots of water, and just be kind to yourself in this process. It's a really good thing. One more element is they find that worry and stress is really, really hard on who we be, especially in our aging life. If we worry about our memory, it affects our memory. And I laugh because it's crazy making that we keep worrying about it, but the more we worry about it, it affects our ability to be mentally available to our life. Anyway, that's it for now. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.